Hey guys, this is the Never Ending Reader. I'm Brittany and welcome to my February and January collective book haul. Quick disclaimer, I am very tired. It is early in the morning. I have my coffee. I am trying to plow through the day, and this book haul is going to be as quick as possible because I have things that I need to be doing very soon. I have to set up my daughter's birthday party and do homework, so all of these synopsises will hopefully be very quick. So the first thing that I'm going to haul is Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. This is the Grishaverse trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I read these years ago. I don't think I remember probably half of what I should remember, but I wanted to pick them up again because my friend Sophie, she wanted to read these before she got into the Six of Crows duology, and so I thought maybe I would read it with her because I did love these a lot when I read them back in the day, and I kind of wanted to give it another shot. I am a big Darkling stan, so I think it'll be interesting to read it again. If you don't know this trilogy, from what I remember, it's been so many years. I think it starts off following a girl named Alina, and she is a soldier. This is a fantasy world, and she is supposed to be crossing the Shadowfold with all the other soldiers, and then she discovers that she has magic, and so like the Darkling takes her to basically, I think it was like a castle, and like she's training, and yeah, so that would be kind of like a short summary of this book, not the rest of these. I really liked this when I first read it. And the second book, I was like, that's pretty good. And then the third book, I hated because I love the Darkling. So maybe reading it with a new, fresh set of eyes will be pretty interesting because I am much older now and I might have some very different opinions from when I first read it. The next book that I picked up, I actually picked up for $1 at a thrift store, and that is The Revenant by Michael Punk. My grandpa really liked this movie, The Revenant, and I bought him this actually years ago for his birthday, I think, and he really liked the book too. So when I saw it for $1, I was like, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. It is about a man named Hugh Glass, and I think he is part of the Rocky Mountain Fur Trading Company. Basically, he's a fur trapper, and I watched maybe, I don't know, just like a little bit of the movie way back in the day when it first was released, and I remember Hugh Glass getting like attacked by a bear and like left for dead, and then I don't think I watched the rest of it. So like my grandpa, I also am pretty into the fur trapping idea, so hopefully this is pretty good. The next book that I bought, I actually pre-ordered and I have already read. It is In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. This is part of the Wayward Children series. The first one is called Every Heart a Doorway. I love this series with all my heart. Every Heart a Doorway is the first book, and it is about these kids who they have basically found a door when they were, you know, young children, and this door leads them to like a different world. So like each kid has been led to a different world, and after they've lived in this world for some time, the world spits them back out into reality, which is like here, and so it's them like coping with the fact that they lived somewhere else and nobody believes them, and yeah, so that's what the first book is about. This one is about a girl named Lundy, and she has like a pretty mediocre life basically, and one day she's walking and she finds a door in a tree, and this takes her to the Goblin Market. So this is about Lundy like going to the Goblin Market and coming home and all that. So it was really good. I think I gave it 5 stars because like I wouldn't have given any book in this series anything less. So yeah, very good, 5 stars, loved it, and highly recommend this series if you are into some fantasy, and they are all really tiny, so it's like a one-day read. The next book I also found for $1 at a thrift store, and that is The Returned by Jason Mott. I don't know if you can see that, my light might be washing it out. From what I understand, this is about people who basically like returned from the dead. So in the synopsis in the front cover here, it says that like there's this couple and their son died when he was 8 years old, and it's been like decades later, and now this couple is old, and one day 8-year-old Jacob, I think his name was, shows up at their doorstep, and they're like, what the fuck? But I picked it up because I think I watched a show called The Returned like years ago, and it was French from what I remember, and I thought that it had like a pretty similar synopsis or whatever plot as that one, so I picked it up because it looked interesting and I really liked that French TV show. The next book I found was 50 cents at a thrift store, and that is Seance by Joan Lowry Nixon. This is, I think it's like a little thriller. It says it's about these kids, and they do a seance, and then one of the girls goes missing during the seance, and the next day they found her dead in a swamp. So yeah, it looked like a little, like, I don't know if it's young adult or middle grade, but it's pretty small, and I don't know, I'm really into like middle grade horror, so yeah, I picked it up because it looked good to me. So the next book that I picked up is The Kidnapping of Christina Lattimore. This is by the same author, Joanne Lowry Nixon. This is another tiny like young adult middle grade mystery, and it says it's about a girl named Christina who has been kidnapped and drugged, and her family like pays the kidnapper ransom, but like when she gets home, her family is like, yeah, well, you probably like orchestrated this whole thing by yourself anyway. So yeah, it looks like a little mystery, and that is something that I'm into, so I picked it up. The next book that I picked up was also $1 from the thrift store, and that is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. I literally love this cover. She's so cute. And this was like really popular on BookTube. Well, it still probably is. And it was about a girl named Dimple, and she has an arranged marriage with a boy named Rishi, I believe. And Dimple like goes to a summer camp, and she's like enjoying her life. And then Rishi like shows up, and she's like, I don't know how she reacts, obviously, because I haven't read it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I know about this book, and I'm just like literally obsessed with this cover, and everybody on BookTube says it's pretty good. So when I saw it for $1, I was like, yes, sign me up. I also pre-ordered The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I have been seeing arcs for this for like, God, like a million years, and I'm like always crazy about the arcs because like, look at this cover. Number one, there's a dragon, and like anywhere that you can find dragons, you can find me, because I am living for it. And this thing is huge. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm afraid to read it because it's like a million fucking pages. Let me check how many pages. It's like over 800. So yeah, it's really, really large. I've heard it compared to Game of Thrones, which I don't know how accurate that is because you never really know with these like little blurbs and stuff. But it says on the front cover, a world divided, a queendom without an heir. Yes, ma'am. And an ancient enemy awakens. So yeah, I'm super, super excited about this. I am hoping to read it in April. Maybe I'll start it at the end of March if I can, but yeah, it's terrifying. It's so large, so scary. So if you have bought this and you want to buddy read this, let me know, because I would be honored, because I need somebody to keep me accountable because it is so large. And the next book that I picked up was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I probably am not pronouncing that correctly, but this was one of my Book of the Month picks. I actually canceled Book of the Month after I got this, but I have read this. I read it with my friend Sophie. I will link her channel down below. We both really, really liked this. It is a thriller about a woman named, I think her name was Alicia, and one day her husband came home and she like just shot him like 5 times and then never spoke after that. So she like is living in this psychiatric hospital and hasn't spoken for years, and this therapist, psychiatrist or whatever, like he comes to the mental hospital and he's like trying to get her to talk and like tell her story. So that is what this is about. Yeah, Sophie and I both really liked this, and we are like soul sisters. When it comes to reading, we rarely have different opinions about things. So yeah, we both really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anyone who likes thrillers. So the next book that I hauled is The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read this with Sophie. I will link her below if I haven't already said that. We both didn't like this, so that I think is an unpopular opinion, because I think this book like won a Goodreads award maybe. Anyways, so buying it for $1, I'm fine with hating it and not spending a ton of money on it, but this is about a woman who is married to this man and they get a divorce because of like whatever reason, and then she is basically like stalking him and his new girlfriend. Well, I guess it's a new fiance. And so it's a thriller about like this like weird love triangle and like what happens and this and that. And I don't know, I didn't like it like at all. I thought it was pretty sloppy, and now I can't even remember like what happened, because I read it in January, and usually if a book is good, it'll stick with me, and this just, I don't know, it just like disappeared from my brain. So yeah, I might unhaul this or give it to someone who would actually like it. I also picked up Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler. This looks like just your classic vampire novel. I read the inside of the cover when I first bought it, and I was like, it looks like nothing spectacular, but I haven't read like a good vampire book in a while, so I was like, okay, for $1, I can definitely give it a go. I also picked up a guide for mindfulness. Like, I'm not gonna get too much into this, but it's like a little guide about practicing mindfulness, which is something that I am into, so I picked it up, and yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about that. I also picked up a middle grade horror, and it is The Doll Graveyard by Lois Ruby. Like, look how scary that looks. That's why I picked it up, mainly. But yeah, as you guys know, middle grade horror, that's my deal. So I think this is about like a haunted house, and these kids like live in it, and like in the backyard of their house there is like a little graveyard, and in the graveyard like the graves are only big enough to fit dolls. So yeah, that seemed pretty spooky to me, so I was like, yes ma'am, I will take it. I also picked up The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. I saw this floating around BookTube like a long time ago, and I saw that it was like $1 at a thrift shop, which is my brand. So yeah, I picked it up. I think this is about there's like a traveling psychic, and she's like telling futures, and this is in like the 1960s. And so this like family, these like siblings like go and talk to this psychic, and they get their futures, and now it's like following them, I don't know, probably as they live their lives and how maybe that affects them. So yeah, I picked it up because it's popular and I thought maybe I would like it, and also this cover is just like spectacular. And the last book that I picked up was The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. Honestly, I just saw this cover and it was like my aesthetic, so I was like, yes ma'am, and I picked it up. And I remembered Emma Donoghue wrote Room, which I haven't read but I own, and I probably should read immediately because I saw that there's like a movie for it on Netflix now. But I'm not sure really what this is about, aside from I think it's like a historical fiction about like an English nurse who hears about like this little kid who hasn't eaten in 4 months but is like still alive, and like so she's like going to maybe go treat this kid and like see what's up. But yeah, so I picked it up because it intrigued me. That's cold coffee. So that is it. That is the book haul. Expect another fairly large book haul from me in the future, because I have placed 2 book outlet orders, and one was supposed to be here like a fucking week ago, but they like lost my package, so that's like super fun and fresh, and I love that for me. But yeah, apparently now it's supposed to show up tomorrow. I don't know, I don't trust these people anymore. But yeah, I have another book haul. I think the first order I placed was like 15 books, and then the next one was like 12. So expect a haul of that from me in the future. And after that, I pray to God I will not be hauling anything like at all, because I am done buying books forever. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this book haul. I'm still half asleep and I need to go get my errands done, so I will see you in my next video. Bye.